401k rolling and kept my retirement, and been I don't know, CEO of Pepsi.
Don't go past that chair.
Gotcha, thank you. Thank you for that. So I'm trying to stay out of the way so everybody can see this. So in 2019, we left Pepsi. And I said, you know what, we're going to go full-time into this thing. And I went to my first convention ever. Somebody time me too, man. That way I know kind of what I'm doing. I don't want to run over, bro.
Yep.
I'm just trying to give you a little bit of background so you know who I am, so you understand what I'm telling you is real. It's not fluff. It's not just somebody talking. I'm as real as it gets, man. And I love telling you the bad as well as the good, because the bad's usually worse. Way worse than the good. 2019, I wore all the hats. I started that year, and I said to my wife, I said, if I leave Pepsi and we make $200 a day, we'll be okay. We won't lose any money, but I won't gain none, but at least I'll be working for me. And let's do it. We did. And so by literally the 1st of September, we hit that goal of 70,000. And I said, well, crap, man, let's make it 80. So then we hit 80. I said, well, let's make it 100. Well, before the 1st of December, we hit 100. Let's just make it 125. Anybody ever had to pivot on their goals? Mm-hmm. I had to keep kicking it. I was like, my goodness. You know, because I wanted to be an overachiever, so I set a low one and we hit it. And I said, well, crap, we got to change that. So we changed it like 4 times in 2 months. Well, we ended at 116. 2020, I had a $250,000 goal. I said, well, let's do $250,000. I come a little short. We did 232. I'm doing all the sales, and I'm doing all the washing. And that is straight up house washing. That's not roof washing. That's house washing and concrete cleaning and gutter brightening. That did that number. It was just me. In 2021, my wife has homeschooled our daughter the whole time from birth, literally. And so our daughter graduated, and she said, I'll come in the office and I'll help you answer the phone. Praise the Lord. We jumped from 232 almost to 300. I hired 1 tech, and I kind of went into sales and operations. So I was pivoting, you know what I mean? 2022, well, which was last year, I had a goal of $750,000. We ended at 547. But I almost doubled my revenue. All these numbers are with around the 24 to 26% profit margin. So revenue up here is for vanity. Like, this is just fluff numbers, man. These numbers don't matter. The more you spend, the less you take home. Just so everybody knows that, right? Y'all were in that class yesterday with Megan Lights. I was like, that's the truth. This year our goal was 750, and this is how I plan to do it. 2 trucks running 10 months, which means they start March 1st. I want 3 trucks, 3 to 4 months out the year. My biggest 3 months, like one's going to be November and December, and the other 2 months, I feel like I'm right in front of my thing. I'll stand in front of the podium. And the other 2 months, I want to be in my biggest cleaning season, which will be somewhere between March and April and September, October. Because June, July, it drops a little. August, it drops. September goes back up. So guys, I planned this. Now, if I can keep that 3rd truck on the road for longer than 3 months, I may hit $1 million. I don't know. My goal is 750 with a 30% net. So that's what we want to do. Now, here's reality. You see this. How many people in this room, by show of hands, now I'm a participant kind of guy. We like to get involved with one another. I want to know you. I want you to know me. And so unlike like Megan was like, I hope 10 people, I will call you out. Like, I will walk to you and ask you a specific question because I want you involved. If you're not engaged mentally, you wasted your money. So if you aren't here, you might as well leave. Man, go to the pool. You have more fun out there. stay broke, but you'll have more fun. Because 80% of the people in this hotel are broke. They just look good. But they're broke. I want you to be broke. How many people would say they're a rock star salesman that you really believe that you've got it dialed in where you're a good salesman? Now, there's no shame or anything. I think I am. But guess what? I watch videos 8 hours a day on sales because I need to learn the next thing that I didn't know yesterday to make me better tomorrow. I think I'm a great salesman. I really do. Who would say you're above average? Not wrong, just above average. Yeah. Great. Who would say they're kind of mediocre, like middle of the road, like some days I get it, some days I don't? Okay. Now who would say not really good at it and need a lot of help? Okay, we got a few. So we got a blend, right? Here's the thing, guys. Every one of you that think you need a ton of help will outsell me the day I don't show up. And you'll learn what that means in a little while. So guys, goal setting and sales are similar. They're one and the same. If you don't plan to win, you won't. If you don't plan to sell, you won't. If you don't plan your day tomorrow, you won't get anything done. So let's walk through this, okay? Is everybody ready for a shift? Let's do a transition. Everybody ready? Because I need one too. This is a picture we took. Jason, you're going to want to see this, sir. Yeah, man. Look at this. Now, is this truth? Is this truth? Or is this truth? Which one's true?
All of them. Well, that's a good fun.
Every one of them are different perceptions of truth. Which truth would I rather have? I got you by 2 inches, dog, with a 3-foot chair. In sales, perception is everything. If you go into a sales communication experience and you're not believing this left picture, you're going to deliver the right picture. And if you win that, who cares? You could have won this. But it's because of our mindset we don't get left side pictures. Because we know that's possible, but we believe the chair is the only way to get there. How many people believe I can take that left picture without a chair?
I believe in you.
Yeah. You can hold on to it.
I can hold on to him. He can hold me. And I can take that and pull the chair out, baby. I don't need the chair. Hey, I can jump on his back and put my head and sit on his like that. It's whatever you believe. But if you only believe the right picture, that's all you're going for. You are the one in charge of how you think when you walk into a sales presentation. It is up to you how that presentation goes 100%. How many people believe that? Say I do. Everybody. Everybody. I didn't hear nothing.
I do.
Do you believe that?
Yes.
Do you believe you control the outcome?
Yes.
You really do. You're either the gas pedal or the brake pedal. Choice is yours. I want to be the gas pedal. And then I want to know when to cruise. And then I want to know when to hit the brakes. And I want to know when to close. But you control that. If you think you can or if you think you can't, you're right. How many people believe that? How many people have ever seen this? By show of hands. Donna can't participate and Jason can't participate. I know because they've seen it. Has anybody else ever seen this?
It looks like one of those Are You a Robot tests.
It's not, I promise. It's going to give you a lot more than that little stupid thing does. All right, I want you to take 30 seconds. How many squares do you see? Go. Count them now. Don't miss any of them. Is that little green button right there, the little laser?
Good question.
Yeah, that's it.
I didn't know I had a laser.
Got a laser, dog? Hey, 30 seconds up. Everybody ready? That's what I'm talking about, the green line. All right. Who counted 16? I mean, somebody's got to be counting 16. There's 16 on the board. Y'all couldn't count 16? Y'all entrepreneurs? Did anybody count at least 16? At least 16. I'm sorry, at least 16. Lord, help me get my language right. And I don't cuss, but Lord, y'all see how words work? Words a big deal, ain't it? So I had all of these just looking at me, and I'm thinking, I know they got 16. How many people got 17? 18? At least past that. 19. 20. 21. 22. 23. 24. 25. 26. 27. 28. 29. 30. Who got 30? Y'all got 30. They're the ones right. Now I'm going to walk you through it. All right. That's pretty good, ain't it? 30 is the right answer. Here's how we do it, okay? So you know you got 16 because you encompass the whole thing, right? Then you got 17 because it's one block square. All right? 18 is where you go 2 over, 2 down, 2 across, 2 up. So that's 18, 19, 20, 21. 22 is right in the middle. Y'all with me yet? All right, 23 is over 3, up 3, over 3, down 3. All the way around now, so you got, that's 24. Then start here. 25, 26, 27. Or 26, I'm sorry. And then in the middle, you go right here in the middle, you got another one. You see all these squares?
It's actually 34 then.
It probably could be 34.
34, because I didn't count the 3 buys. There's 34 with
It could be 34. You're probably right, because you could count these. Well, no, it can't be 34. No, it's 30.
You got the 4 up top in the middle, 4 at the bottom in the middle, 4 to the left in the middle, 4 to the right.
Right.
And you got your 9s as well.
Yeah. So it is 30 though. But if you could get 34 out of it, get it. I mean, get it. Don't let me stop you. I want you to show me later because I want to get it. Hey, I mean, honestly, that's how it is. If he got 34, then the game's going to 34. You understand? I've only got 30. But you see how opportunity is in the eyes of the beholder. What you see is not reality. What you want to see becomes reality. The more you look into something, the more you dive into a situation that you're selling to, the bigger the opportunity becomes. You can't look on surface level. Who was in here with Christmas lights or yesterday about the sales, like where they were doing these huge things, 300 grand in my town? I'm going to talk to him about that anyway and ask him if I can help him with that next year. But guys, listen. They said they had a budget of what, 20 something? End up with 300,000? How does that happen? Because you go into a sales situation looking for the opportunities. How many people are ready for a mind shift? We got to change the way we think. That's just the reality. I thought I changed this. Did it not change? Okay, that one changed. We only got to do one I missed, y'all. Sorry about that. The top is hard to see. The number one thing you got to work on as a salesperson, whether you're a woman, man, it don't matter who you are, if you're going into the line of sales in any way, shape, or form, you gotta smile and compliment often. How many people in here smile all the time? Like I smile all the time. My wife's like, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, what you happy about? I'm just happy. Smile. You gotta smile and compliment. Dude, how many people do that? You don't have to show hands. How many people do it? When you walk up to the customer's door, and you're like, hey, how are you? Good to see you. Are you happy to be there? That's the first line. You got 30 seconds to make an impact that will last a lifetime. Now, how many people in here have ever argued with their wife, their spouse, their brother, their mother, co-worker, ticked them off, truck broke down, had a flat tire? You know, crap happens. And then I pull up to the job and guess what I'm toting? All that crap that just happened. I'm going to lose that job. I'm better off to get in the car and go home and tell them I'm sorry I couldn't make it today. I had a flat tire, I'll come back tomorrow. Because if I can't turn that smile on, and if I can't compliment, and if I can't shut down the junk in my life that's happening, I am not going to win that person, because they're going to read right through me and tell I'm ticked off, aggravated, could care less to be there. We've all been there. But guys, that's not how you win. So if you can't turn it off, you have to sometimes shut it off. Miss Sue, I'm sorry I had something bad come up today. And I'm going to have to reschedule. Can you give me a couple hours? I'm in an emergency situation. And man, get yourself together. So when you step on that stage, it's a presentation. It's a performance. It's got to be A+ all day long. How many people understand that? We've all been there. We've all walked away from jobs saying, yeah, I blew that one. They ain't even said no yet, but yeah, I blew that one. I've done it. Donovan's done it. We've all done it. If you feel good, they'll know. If you feel good, they will too. How many people know that's contagious? So is misery loves company. How many people's ever knocked on the door and the homeowner's just totally miserable? I mean, they are just like, blah. Everything in their life sucks. But they're calling you because they want to clean their house or Christmas lights, right? But they're like, it's just complain. You've got a few seconds there to get them to feel good and shut that stuff down in their life. And the only way you're ever going to do it is if it's not existing in yours. Because if it's existing in yours, all of a sudden, now you become a facilitator of theirs, and both of y'all ain't doing nothing but griping on the porch. Yeah, I know it's raining outside. I know it's miserable. You gotta cut that out. You got to get them up. If you're going to get them to give anything up, they got to be up here. Because happy people buy more than sad people. That's fact. Get them smiling, baby. Here's where we miss it on the second part. We don't smile, we don't compliment enough, and we don't do any planning. Megan talked about goal setting yesterday. Smart goals. Having projections of what you want to do. Guys, how many people plan their sales pitch before they get there? It's scripted. Like, you drop me off in the middle of those, or I don't care where you drop me. My pitch is not changing. Because guess what? The same people live there, live in New York, live in Florida. I don't care what dialect you have, your feelings are identical to mine. You want the same things I want. You want for your children the same things we want. And all I got to do is touch a few of those psyches, and it's planned out. I have a canned sales pitch. Now, some people don't like that. It's okay. If you can't do your sales pitch, you canned it wrong. Learn how to can it. Because it works. And guess what? It's replicatable. I can teach anybody my sales tactics on paper and have you selling the way I sell in a week. That's a guaranteed fact. If you do what I tell you to do. If you do what Donovan says do when you work for him, you can perform these things. If Ramon goes out and says, here's how we do this, and you do it that way, you will get the same result he got. Y'all understand it, right? Plan your sales pitch. And then pivot in the middle of it little, but always have the back to go back to. Always have the go back. Go back to your original. And pivot. Go back. Pivot. Go back. There's always going to be that little one-off that's going to catch you off guard, and you have to deal with it and then go right back to your can. Because this is where you're stable. The stabler you are, the more consistent you are, the better results you're going to get. Don't wing it. Put some thought into it. I heard somebody say, oh, it was Tommy Mello yesterday. He said when he gets a new employee, he literally does a full background on Facebook, deal, LinkedIn. He wants to know their mom, their dad. Why? Because he's building his can. That way that employee knows, and he does it on every identical. It's the same thing. So guys, you got to plan it. Nobody wakes up planning to fail. How many problems have we all got in our life? We all got problems. How many of us think we can conquer all of them? We do. We're entrepreneurs. Everybody. We got it, man. You got to have the same thought when you go this. Here's the deal. Here's what I'm talking about planning. Know your product. Know your team. You got to know your prospect's needs. You got to know the solution to meet those needs. You got to make a plan to win. Does anybody accidentally win the Super Bowl? No. They planned that since they were 18. It took them 30 years to achieve it. But they go out every day with the same plan. And they fail 80% of the time. But they just keep the same game plan. It's going to work. It's going to work. It's going to work. And when it starts working, you got Tom Brady, which, what, how many Super Bowls? I'm not a real, I don't know sports a whole lot. 6 or 7 Super Bowls? I mean, really? Back Joe Montana was in my day, you know? Guys, these guys don't accidentally become great. And you're not going to just happenstance make it in this business. You got to plan your sales pitch before you get to the door. In here and on paper. What am I going to do? This come up last time, and I see it again this time. I need a plan for that. Rust, oil in the driveway, whatever it is. A Japanese maple. Amen? How can you plan to address that? And address it. Have a game plan. And plan to win. Third, you got to have a heart to serve. Now this is where we lose it a lot right here. Because most people start their entrepreneurial journey for them and their family and therefore no more. But guys, it's not about us. It's about our customers. Because without them, I do not have a business. Without my teammates, I do not have a business. I'm going to chuck in a truck at best, man, with a nice wrap truck and a nice logo on my shirt. Whoop-de-doo. I'm working myself to death because I don't know how to serve. If you can't serve, your teammates ain't going to stay, and your customers won't go meet. They'll leave. They will leave. You may get them one time. But they're leaving. They're not staying. If they think all you're in for is you and your team, and it's all about you. Jason had to check me on this the other day on the blog I wrote. I was using I too much, and we can help, and I can do this. And my motive was all for the customer to read and know we can do this for you. But I had too many I's, I had too many we's, I had too many me's. Guys, we get wrapped up in that stuff, and we got to turn it off. And Jason called me on the carpet. He's like, "Bo, that's too many I's, man." So I had to now go back and check myself, because now when I'm blogging, I got to make sure it's about the customer. Them, their needs, their wants. You have to be interested in your prospect's needs. How many people when they go to a job know what the prospect's looking for? Like, you know what the prospect called you for. Show of hands, everybody. Does anybody, do you know what they called for? Now I seen like 6 hands. We got 30 people in this room. That's bad. What are you going to their house for? Do we not know anything? Now I'm asking now, I'm not being mean, I'm asking. Do we know what they need? Did we even ask them? Did we script on the telephone and did we even ask the question? Because they called for you to come out. Why? And I don't really, listen, I don't care why they called, because that's not why I'm going anyway. But I need to know where their mind is so I can address that issue. But I'm going for 10 other things too. You might call me for a house wash, but baby, I'm leaving with a whole lot more than a house wash. But I need to know at least you said the right side of my house is dirty and the HOA's ticked off and I got a letter. I need to at least know that, so we know how to address it. And then we know how to build on top of that. And I'm not even getting into packages today. Man, that's a whole other world. If you have to ask questions about life. How many people sit down with their prospects and have an actual conversation? You can raise your hand if you do. If you don't want to raise your hand, you don't have to. And listen, guys, there's no big I's and little U's in this room, okay? Everybody in here is equal, man. We're all just trying to make the same deal. We're trying to grow a business, okay? So Donovan's at a whole nother level than I am. Ramon is at a whole nother level than me. I'm at a whole nother level than some people. Tommy Mello's at a whole nother level than ain't none of us at. I don't care. I ain't competing with Tommy Mello. You're competing with you. So don't try to measure up to what he said, what I say, what they say. Dude, it's irrelevant what we say. It's you got to better you. You got to be the best you can be and then beat it. You're competing with you. But you need to do these things to win. You got to ask about their life. Sit down and have a conversation with them. Hey, how's your dog? Oh, I noticed it's got a limp. Yeah, the mailman run over my dog. Man, stinking mailman. I'm telling you what, come here, baby. And pick that joker up and love on it. You know what I mean? I'll do it. I'll get the dog's name.
Closing ticket goes up when you pet the dog.
Oh, yeah. I'm telling you.
Put dog treats on your truck, that helps.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Chris, please don't come and try to pet strike.
I don't think I petted him when we were at your place. I wanted to, but
Did
I
I
didn't.
bring them?
Yeah, you brought them. They were in the truck. You had them out one time. And then remember Chris's
Oh,
dog
that's
was out?
right. I had to put them up.
Yeah, Chris's German Shepherd got out and yours were out. And it's like everybody ran out. Oh my God, it was bad. It was funny. I was sitting there laughing. I said, yeah, they might have a bad time. But anyway, because Chris's dog was little, you know, it was little, man. It wasn't trained yet or nothing. I mean, it'd have been bad. But guys, you got to ask these questions about their life. When you walk up the driveway, I'm looking for sports memorabilia. I'm looking for a flag hanging. I'm looking for a mailbox that's got a wrap on it of the Cleveland Indian or whoever. Ain't that a baseball team?
Cleveland Indian.
I don't know. It's Cleveland something. They got a baseball team and a football team because every state does. So I'm not a sports guy, I'm telling you I'm not. But I'm looking for it. And I'm going to fake it till I make it. You know what I mean? Was it Cleveland Browns?
Cleveland Indians is right, except for they changed it to Guardians.
Okay, Guardian. Oh, that's probably a political
Yeah,
correct
yeah,
thing. Some kind of limp-wristed noodle.
Just
got
right
mad
over
over Indian. But yeah, I'm not liberal by no stretch. And morons are stupid. But you have to build a relationship with your customer. My wife just looked at me like, oh God, there he goes. He's going to political rant. You have to build a relationship with them. How many people here are married? Do you know your wife or do you know your husband? You know their color? You know their favorite color? Do you know their favorite restaurant?
Yep.
You do? You know what shoes they like? You know what shoes they don't like? We're married, we gotta communicate. Guys, I'm marrying each customer for a moment of time. And I'm building a relationship for life. And if I don't get engaged in that and ask these questions, I'll never get a relationship. Lastly, on this one, you got to sell to them individually. I can't sell to my wife the same thing I sell to Ramon. He's a totally different person. I got to plan the pitch the same, but I got to know when to pivot. How many people here know what a disc profile is? That's awesome. A disc profile.
Disc profile.
Disc?
Yeah, D-I-S-C. Disc. Like a disc, like a C of a disc. No, it's a personality profile is what it is.
Okay.
So go in there and look. Tony Robbins has got a free disc assessment you can take online. I challenge you to go take that assessment and learn the disc profile. I'm not going to get into it today because I don't have time and I don't want to go over because I know there's a lady coming from Facebook and I want to hear that too. But guys, learn a disc profile. How many people know what the love languages are? Has anybody ever heard of the love languages? See a few more hands? All right. Do you know them? Do you use them? I use them. And see, you can take the disc profile and the love languages, and I can make you melt like butter. You are literal, yeah, raspberry butter, Duesenberry. Hey, you can literally make your prospects putty in your hand if you know how to sell to them individually. Her love language and her disc profile will be totally different than yours. I've got about a minute to figure that out as I talk and walk around the house with the prospect, and I'm letting them tell me what all they want. I'm asking questions to figure out love languages and disc profiles. And before I make it back to their front door, I'm going. I'm good. We got a 67% close rate with a $1,600 average ticket. That's not a joke. It's because I do this stuff. Literally, you got to do this stuff. You got to sit down and have these conversations and learn your customers, your prospects. All right, here's a big deal, guys. If you're going to be in the sales industry, my wife is golden at this, and sometimes I'm like, baby, you cut them off too soon. She's like, no, I didn't hang on by. And she's great at it because she can read through the crap. And I kind of get filtered in the weeds, and I'm like, yeah, but they're potential. She's like, no, they weren't. Okay. And I walk away sorrowfully because I'm not good at this. She is. That's why she answers my phones. That's why she's my guardian that says we have a limit and this is our limit of minimum, and you got to meet the criteria before she sends me to the job. Because I'd be all the time wanting to do, hey, we'll come get it. I think I can get her at 300. My wife's like, you ain't going to get her to 200. You ain't going to get her to 100. I'm like, yeah. Because I think I'm great, but I'm not. Some people just ain't a customer. Is it a prospect or a suspect? Now, I look like a suspect. Y'all all seen me. I got tattoos all over my arm, down my legs, down this arm. When I walk up to a house, I look like a freaking suspect. You know what I mean? I knock on doors like this, to hide this whole side. Hey, how are you? I'm Chris from Rivertown Pro Wash. And, then I got a tattoo all the way down this leg with skulls biting into each other. That's another life. I didn't even get into all that. But I look like a suspect. Now, I challenge you guys not to look like suspects. My shirt's tucked in. I got my shirt on that matches my car. My car matches my shirt. The flyer they got in the mail matches both of them. The phone call my wife gives when she answers the phone puts us at a level 950 out of 10. I mean, she's up there, buddy. And so we've already built this thing up to where if I come up with my shirt all untucked and one shoe's untied, another shoe ain't untied, I look like a stinking suspect. Look the part, number one, okay? This ain't about us, but it is. Look the part. Don't have your salesmen looking like hobos. Develop prospecting skills. You got to learn who is a prospect and who is a suspect. Here's what prospects are. They're financially and authoritatively able to make the decision. How many times have we talked to somebody for 10 or 15 minutes and they're like, yeah, man, Joe ain't even home, man, I'm just a neighbor. What in the name of God have I done? 10 minutes I've spent with this guy. He don't even live here. Dear God. I just wasted 10 minutes of my life on a guy that can't possibly help me. I did that last week, that's why it's fresh. Did. They called about a fence, a truck drove through their fence, and I get on the thing, and the first guy comes out the garage. I just assumed it's Joe. I never asked. I'm like, hey, I'm Chris with Rivertown Pro Wash. He decides to walk me around, show me where the truck run through, flipped upside down. I'm like, yeah, man, this is bad, man. We can fix all this, and we can clean the roof. They got mud that deep on the roof. I'm like, man, we can get that off with a soft wash. We can hurt shingles. We can do. And then this old man comes around with a cane. I said, who's that? He said, oh, that's Joe. Well, who are you? Like, what? Chris should ask, are you Joe? Hey, Joe. Oh, I ain't Joe. See, I didn't. Assumptions kill us, don't they? Okay, God. So make sure you got the person you need to talk to before you spend 45 minutes of your life. Because you're going to have to do it again with Joe, because this jackleg right here cannot interpret what you told him. Let me ask you a question. Here's why this is so important, okay? I know we're laughing, it's all humorous, but here's why it's so important. If you take an hour of your life and plan that sales pitch, and you go there and you articulate it with fervor, man, and you're fired up, and you only close half of the people you talk to, what do you think this idiot's going to do that's had 10 seconds of a thought about what you're doing because he's not paying you any attention because he's not even involved in the situation? What's he going to do when he relays that to the actual customer? You're never going to close that deal. So if you're going to pour all that time and effort into that sales pitch, give it to who it needs to go to. That's a big deal in commercial. Man, I don't sales pitch anybody in commercial unless they're a decision maker. I'm not giving my sales pitch 15 times. I'm not doing it. It's too important to me to vomit it on people that could care less. I'll use a different pitch to get through them. And when I meet the man that can sign the check and say, hey, I hired you, that's the man I want to give the real deal to. Don't waste your sales pitch on people that are irrelevant. They're suspects. Always be prospecting. Always be prospecting. If you're in the line at Walmart, here's a card. If you're in the line at the DMV, here's a card. See a guy pumping gas and he looks aggravated, hey man, here's a card, man. We got a great job opportunity here for you, man. Or we got employees and prospects. You need both. So be prospecting all the time. Always be closing. And I think this is my last slide, and we'll be done in just a few minutes. This is the most important part. I'm probably going to spend the least amount of time on it because I just don't have time right now. Literally, this one slide could take me 3 hours. But I'm not going to do that. Because if you can't get this part right, everything else you just did was a waste of time. But if you can't do the stuff that I said before, you'll never get to this part. They coincide, but this is the most important part. And here's what happens, Donovan. We plan that pitch, Ramon. We put everything we can into winning that pitch. And we get to this part, and we never finish. We fizzle out right at the cross of the finish line. We stop. And it goes something like this. We've pitched it all, we've sold it all, we've told it all. We know it all. Then we're like, thank you, Tom. Man, when y'all make a decision, let me know. Thank you, bud. Tom ain't calling. Tom ain't calling. If Tom calls, you're going to get a 10% close rate. If that's the only thing you do from now till Jesus comes back, you'll get a 10% close rate and you'll go out of business. Because Tom ain't calling. Because there's 4 other people going to do that. And he's going to have a neighbor and a cousin and a brother and a mother, and everybody's going to give their opinion on it. And he's just going to call whoever he just happens to feel froggy one day. You got to close the deal. You got to close it. If you can't finish to win, you're no more than a conversationalist. You've got to know somebody, you made a good buddy that's going to maybe take you out to eat one day, or they may invite you to their daughter's birthday party, but you ain't never washing their house. You ain't never cleaning their gutters out. We ain't never going to hang their Christmas lights. We're just going to talk to them about a whole bunch of stuff. You work too hard to stop, and you know what your prospect wants you to do? Everybody read that. Ask. But ask. The Bible says we have not because we ask not. That is the Word of God that has the power to raise people from the dead, the power to speak stuff into existence. And God said, if you'll do this, you'll get results. But we don't do it. You have not because you ask not. Guys, you got to ask for the business. And there's 1,000 ways to do that, Jason. There's 1,000 ways, Ramon, to do that. And there's 100 ways that work. There's 900 that don't. But individually, you need to figure all that out. That's not my thing today. I just wanted to get you to a level to where you're actually up to that point to where you can ask. Because you've built the bridge. All you got to do is step on it. You built the bridge, so don't leave it unattended. Get on the bridge. Just step on it. And if you'll just do that, your close rate will go through the roof. We ain't dealing with objections today. I'm not dealing with all that. That'll come in time as you grow in the entrepreneurial world and you grow in sales abilities. Objections are going to come. I welcome them. I will challenge you this. Write them all down. You need to write your objections down so that when you know how to handle that objection, you have a record of how to handle it going forward and you didn't forget it. Like, write it down. Make a record of it. And then when the customer's telling you the objection, or they don't understand this, they don't understand that, when you write it all down, you go down and one list. Now, is there anything else that you're not satisfied that I've answered? Then when you go to the next customer, you have a whole list of objections. You just got them. And then you can start dealing with those before they ever come up. The more objections you know, the faster you can deal with the elephant in the room and squash it. So that's how you learn to sell, guys. That's how you learn to deal with objections, okay? That's just a little food for thought. Write them down, learn how to deal with them, and then deal with them before they come up on the next one. Okay? Look for opportunities, and this is the last thing I got. When you're in that sales presentation, if you understand their love language and their disc profile, there's 100 different times in that sales presentation that a high D has given you that he's ready to be done. And you've missed them, and you're going to miss the sale because you didn't read his personality. And he's fixing to check out on you, and you don't even know it. So close him. He don't care what you're going to do, Don. He don't care. He don't care that you got workers' comp. It's irrelevant. Just close him. You got to know that, though. And I'll run you through real quick. D's are very direct people. I's are very influential people. They're going to brag on their truck and this and that and all their trophies. I mean, they're trying to influence. That's what I's are. That's what they are. I'm a high I and a high D. S's are more systematic. That's what like 70% of the world's made up of is S's. So you're going to meet a whole bunch of them. Learn who they are. C's are very cautious people. They're calculated. They're going to be the ones to ask you, is your chemical going to kill my plants or my little foo-foo? No, ma'am, it's not. Are you sure? What about this? Well, your garden hose, are y'all going to walk on my grass? Is it going to be in the blaze and not come back? That's a C. You got to know who you're talking to. And so the more you can learn people, that's when you'll know when the prospect's ready. That's your job. to know when to close and then do it. That's all I got.